Hello, welcome to my vlog. I am sitting on the floor in my kitchen, hanging out with my new BFF. Thanksgiving turkey. I've decided I'm super clever because I put it in at noon. So I will always know how long it has been in because whatever the time is on the clock, past 1 o'clock, is how long it's been in. An hour and 2 hours and 3 hours and it's like 13.5 pounds, so I think I'm supposed to cook it for like about 3.5 hours, 3:15. I think I calculated like 3:10. Anyway, obviously, as long as I wake up from my nap in time, I will be checking on it. I need to put some reminder on my phone or something just so that when I open my eyes from the nap, I know to come out and check on the turkey instead of just waking up and being like, I love laying in bed. I wanted to share a story of what happened yesterday. It was pretty scary. He's fine, but Thane had his first real choking incident, and honestly, it was my first experience actually dealing with like actually deadly choking. And all my years of nannying and stuff, I had one little girl that was she was like 9 months old. She was like 5 feet in front of me. I was sitting there like talking to her and playing with her. She was crawling and she had this like wet washcloth and she was sucking on it, and then she just like stopped breathing and looked really freaked out and crawled over to me and started turning blue, and then she started breathing again. So that's like the closest that I've really come. I did get trained. I went through semesters of schooling to become an EMT, and I did volunteer on the firefighting department, but you don't really come across like choking because you would either come across like somebody dead or somebody who's finished choking, or you'd be doing like the scooping and all of that. I'm like trying to get them to expel whatever it is, but they'd be unconscious. But anyway, as far as like a child actually like choking, so what happened was we were at my parents' house and I was wrapping presents, like hiding in their bedroom because Zane's birthday is the 13th. And then there's Christmas and we're going on a trip and I want to like bring the new things for him to open and play with while we're out because we're gonna be like 2 weeks in a hotel. So I was wrapping presents, and Lily, my 7-year-old niece, and my sister and my mom and dad and my brother and another guy who lives with them, Andy, they were all like hanging out in the kitchen talking. They were eating pizza. They were feeding Thane, I guess, an orange. And you know, for me, I had been like wrapping presents for like an hour, and I was just watching a show wrapping presents, and my mom just came bursting in the door and was like, you have to get out here, Thane is choking. And so I'm gonna get emotional. So I just dropped everything I was doing. I actually did grab my phone because I've always kind of trained myself that it's more important to take like a millisecond to make sure that I have my phone, because if you ever, for any reason, like have to contact, have to call 911 or whatever, like I don't want to be like, why didn't I grab my phone when I left the bedroom, even though it feels silly to like, your son's choking, where's my phone? But I mean, I was literally watching a show on my phone, so I just grabbed it. But I went out and everybody was gathered around him, and he was getting like a little bit of a like gasp of air, but clearly I think they might have like gotten it like dislodged a little bit, but it was clearly like just getting sucked back in. And so he was like blue. His lips were dark blue, and he was just covered in his own tears and sweat. And it had clearly been like, a minute or so of them like figuring out that it was really a situation, trying to help him, and my mom coming to get me and me getting in there. And so I just grabbed him from them and just turned him upside down and squeezed his stomach up into, his stomach up into his rib cage, to compress his lungs, which would push out air, which would dislodge it. And having him upside down means that, when it was getting dislodged, it was moving further and further towards the ground rather than further and further into his lungs. So yeah, I was holding him upside down and squeezing him, and then a big chunk of orange fell on the floor. So he was, took a couple seconds, and then he started taking big wet breaths and was really terrified. And I just kept telling him, you know, in like my calmest voice ever, that, you know, he was okay, and that, and you know, that was really scary, and he's okay now, and those kinds of things. And so I brought him over and we sat down and nursed. It took him like a couple minutes to calm down, though, enough to actually be able to nurse. And he cried and cried. Now it's one of our cried and cried and cried stories. He cried and cried and cried, and then he nursed. And it took about 10 minutes. Oh, okay. It took about 10 minutes for him to like cool off and dry off from all the sweat and the tears and all of that. But it was pretty fucking terrifying. And for his color to come back. Well, nap time, duty calls. So I will end this. But yeah, that was my first real choking incident, and I think I handled it pretty well.